And he waited a day or so, and he got there, and they said, "Where have you been?" He said, "Oh, we had to wait because there was some people." I'm just paraphrasing here. They said, "Guys, lay waiting us down the road. They want to do us some harm. They had bad thoughts about us. They laid up. They's going to whoop us, or even worse, they're going to kill us." So he encountered everything and more that we encounter. He's gone through every bit of it, and you know what? He understands and sees and realizes what you go through every day. Why? Because he went through it. A lot of people, they think, well, he was the Son of God. He never got tired. Hey, what if I quote the Bible and show you where he was wore out? He traveled. You know what? He didn't ride in no nice vehicle. Didn't ride on they walked everywhere they went. Another story in the Bible where they walked into a town and they said he was tired and he just sat back and rested, and he said, "Go find us something to eat." Sent the disciples out to go get him something. Why? Because he was just wore out, tired. When we get tired and weary and all the things that come our way, you know what? Jesus went through every bit of it. He went through every bit of that. He experienced everything and more. Think about this. You handpicked friends, and Judas. Judas Iscariot was one of the 12 handpicked guys, but you know what? Yet Judas got money in his eyes and went and betrayed him for 30 pieces of silver. One of his best friends, closest friends, went and said, "I'll give him up. If you'll give me this, I'll give him up. I'll tell you where's that. I'll tell you exactly. I'll point him out. I'll go to him and I'll kiss him on the cheek, and you'll know exactly who he is." You ever heard the old saying, "The kiss of Judas"?
Yeah.
And Jesus knew it was coming. Peter, who was close to him, handpicked, and yet he asked him one day, he said, "Peter, do you love me?" "Why, Lord, yes, you know I do." "Why would you ask me a question like that?" He said, "Because you're going to deny me." "Oh, Lord, no, I won't do that. Oh, there's no way. No way." He said, "Peter, listen, brother, I love you to death. But you're going to deny me 3 times before the rooster crows." And what happened? He sure did. He went through every bit of that, all of those things. He felt bad. He was sick. Had friends around him that got sick, that suffered all kinds of things. One day he got word that one of his friends had died. All these, and this man, his sisters, they were upset. They cried, and they said, "Jesus, if you just come, you could have saved him." They were upset. I'm sure he felt grief and sorrow at that point, didn't he? But you know what? He took care of it. That's when he stood at that cemetery and said, "Hey, Lazarus, come out of there." Boom, there he comes. But you know what? Up to that point, I'm sure he felt like, "Oh my goodness, I've let him down." He felt all those type of things. He felt all of the emotions that every single one of us feel. When he was on the cross and they were standing down below him, mocking, cursing him, all these things, what did he say? He looked up in his life and said, "Father, forgive them. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. They don't have a clue what they're doing." Can you imagine the emotions and the pain that was going through his mind and his body at that time? All of those things that he encountered and he faced. Yet, he overcame. And this scripture here, this is powerful. There's power in God's Word. It's powerful. It says right here, in verse number 15, we don't have a guy who cannot be touched with the feeling of our infirmities, but was in all points tempted like we are, yet without sin. And this is what I like right here. Verse 16 says, "Let us," not me, not just the pastor, not the deacons, not the Sunday school teachers, not grandma, not Aunt Susie, not whoever, Uncle Joe, who's right at the foot of us, but it says, "Let us." Who is that? All of us. "Let us, therefore, come boldly unto the throne of grace." Now, it didn't say to just meekly walk up and say, "Now, Lord, I know, I just come to ask you something, Lord." It said to approach it boldly. Stand right up and say, "Let's come boldly unto the throne of grace that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in a time of need." Now, You know, I've always heard people say, one of the things, you know, especially when I was young and in the first real job interviews I had, you know, one of the things was that you walked in there and you walked in with confidence. And you walked in and you looked at whoever was interviewing you right in the eye, you shook their hand, and you boldly came in and you presented yourself as the candidate for whatever position that you were applying for. And you boldly walked in, you know, and basically you were telling them, listen, I'm the best person for this job and you need to hire me today. You had some confidence and you boldly approached. That's the way I look upon this. It says boldly approach the throne of God. Did you walk in and say, Lord, you know what? I'm in need, and the Word says this. This is what God's Word, this is what your Word says, God. And I'm approaching you boldly because I'm your servant, and you're my Lord. And I'm standing and I'm calling right now, Lord. I'm not just going, well, Lord, if you could. That's not what the Word says. There's power in the Word. It says to approach it boldly. And you know what? There's times, all the times, we got to do that. You know, some of you lately, some of you have approached the throne of God boldly. And you know what's happened? God has moved in many of your lives, in many situations. Some of your finances, some of your physical needs, spiritual needs. God has moved. Why? Because you have boldly approached the throne of grace.